G'day trendsetters, Jom, that's J-O-M, with Gravel Cyclist. I'm coming to you today with another enthralling unboxing and features video. This time around, I've got a bike by Niner, and this would be the fourth bike I've reviewed by Niner. Inside this box is the very controversial Niner MCR, the Magic Carpet Ride full suspension gravel bike. Okay, enough jibber jabber. Let's pop the lid and see what's inside. Well, this is not a good sign. Got a broken wheel, shipping damage. It's the first time this has ever happened. Rear wheel looks good though. And the MCR itself, which I'll unwrap momentarily, pardon the banging and clanging. I'll take off all the plastic wrap so we can see how it looks. And here we have the Niner MCR unwrapped, etc. Now, some people are going to love this bike, some people are going to hate it. In fact, I expect the usual round of comments such as, well, why do you use suspension on a gravel bike? Well, there's no rules in gravel, and you really shouldn't be getting upset about a bicycle. Bicycles are inherently designed to make people happy, so if this sort of bicycle gets you all upset and pissed off, you should probably think about taking up another sport. Remember, keep an open mind, it'll keep your stress levels down too. And for those who are wondering, this is a size small, by the way Niner measure their bikes. On the top tube, it's actually 54.5 centimeter, which is absolutely spot on for me. Stating the obvious, on the front of the bike, we have a Fox AX suspension fork, short travel, not quite as short as my haircut, but short travel nonetheless. And this fork is very traditional looking, much like a mountain bike fork, so it's definitely going to appeal to some of those folks who don't like the look of, say, the Lao fork, just to name one example. The frame is carbon fiber, and halfway along the frame, near the bottom bracket junction, you're going to see suspension, rear suspension, which is obviously what sets this bike apart from everything else on the market at the moment. I'll overlay some suspension details in the video because I'm not 100% up to spec with the rear shock. This version of the MCR is the 4-star build, which primarily is fitted out with Shimano GRX mechanical 2x. The only differences from a full GRX grip set are on the crank, where it's an Easton EC90 crank set with 4732 chainrings, really nice crank set. And on the front derailleur, it's an Ultegra, not a GRX derailleur, but an Ultegra derailleur, and it shifts just fine. In fact, this is identical spec to the Niner bikes I reviewed earlier, which I'll link in the description below, namely the RLT9 RDO and the Alloy RLT9. Also relating to the suspension is the lockout on the front of the bike, so you can lock out the rear suspension from the handlebars remotely. That's pretty handy. The Niner MCR, like its rigid brothers, has plenty of attachment points. On the top tube, you've got a bento box mount. Beneath the top tube, you've got mounting points for bags. On the down tube, you've got mounting points for bottle cages. Again, on the seat tube, same there. And beneath the down tube, there's also a mounting point for a third bottle cage. The cockpit parts are a mixture of Niner and Easton components. The handlebar is an Easton AX model, flared at about 16 degrees, and I have reviewed the carbon model, which I will link in the description below. The seat post and saddle are by Niner. The seat post is an all carbon affair, zero setback. The saddle is nothing to write home about, but it may work for some people. I've used this saddle in the past. It wasn't my bag, so I'm going to substitute for another saddle. There's nothing wrong with this, but personal preference. And the stem is an RDO labeled Niner unit, which I'm definitely going to substitute because I need something longer than 90 millimeters. To be expected in this day and age, there are through axles front and rear, and the brake mounting, it's flat mount on the rear of the bike. Now on the front, on the fork, it's post mount. That might hurt your mind, but post mount works just fine. Finally, the wheel set, and this is a Stan's no tube Grail wheel set. It's a pretty bomb-proof wheel set. It's not exactly high performance. It's more geared towards bike packing or toting around huge loads or training rides. I was going to swap this wheel set out for most of the review. I have ridden this wheel set extensively during my review of Niner's RLT9 and RLT9 RDO bikes. I believe this wheel set is quite a handicap for this bike, so I'm going to swap it out for something a little bit nicer and bring out some of the performance characteristics of this bike. With that said, the front wheel's toast anyway, so it's almost a moot point. I'll be getting in touch with Niner about that. The rotors are wisely spec'd. They are Shimano 160mm front and rear, and the cassette is an 11-34 Shimano Ultegra unit, and that plays nicely with the Easton crank I mentioned earlier. You've got a guaranteed 32 by 34, which is less than 1:1. Super handy for climbing super steep climbs. Between now and the review video appearing, be sure to follow the Gravel Cyclist Instagram account and like the Gravel Cyclist Facebook page, because habitually I like to post teaser images of the bikes as I review them along the way. It always keeps things interesting. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the Gravel Cyclist YouTube channel, and don't forget to click the bell button to be notified of future videos as they appear on the channel. I'll see you in the next video.